welcome to my channel, All Things Militia, where I discuss a lot about what's going on in the political world, but also topics that pertain to everyday life in general. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget, if you see a video that you like, to give a thumbs up button for your girl. Leave a comment down below because I want to get your thoughts on the topics I'm discussing. Share the video, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. You can do all those things, and don't forget to subscribe. So you guys, I wanted to come on here tonight and do a political reflection. This is regarding the 2024 election, when the Democrat Party decided to give the former corrupt now president the boot and install Kamala Harris in his stead. Now, what's interesting is that this is the party that ran the narrative that they were fighting for our democracy, okay, trying to save us from that dictator, orange man, authoritarian, but did not hold a Democrat primary, did not give their own voter base the choice of who they wanted to be the front runner for president. Very disrespectful, if I might add. But it's just interesting, you guys. And so many people don't remember that Kamala ran for president in 2020. They don't remember because she was one of the first people out. But during that campaign, she dropped out reportedly because of finances. She ran out of money. And so in 2024, she was able to raise $1 billion, a whopping $1 billion. And I think that was an historic campaign amount, $1 billion. But what's even more historic is that she came out 20 million in debt, reportedly. And this was the woman that was supposed to help turn our economy around. But let me just share a few clips of that 2024, not 2024, my apologies, the 2020 election when she debated. This is when she debated Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat that left the party after seeing how, what's the word I could say, how Looney Tune, how crazy they had become. She decided to switch over to the Republican side, and she is now our Director of National Intelligence. But this is what she had to say regarding Kamala when they debated back in 2020.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today.
Fact.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence.
Look, if I didn't know that to be true by reports, I would just believe it off of word of mouth because she said a key word that she laughed about it. And that's all I remember about Kamala. That's all I remember.
She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California.
And
she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congress.
Now, that is straight up demonic, you guys. She withheld evidence that could have freed an innocent man from death row until she was forced to give up the evidence. Now, that can't get more demonic than I just on the devil himself. I mean, it reminds me of that movie, Shawshank Redemption. It's an old prison movie where there was a character in it by the name of Andy who was falsely imprisoned, and he did like 20 years. And he was a banker prior to being falsely imprisoned. So he was knowledgeable. He was knowledgeable about the banking industry. And so while he was incarcerated, they learned that he, could do taxes. And he ended up doing taxes for the warden and the prison guards. And so later on in the movie, a new inmate came in after he had been incarcerated for several years that exposed who actually was the person behind the crime that he was sitting in jail for. So when he went back to the warden to try to tell the warden, sir, can you reopen my case? This is I can be free. The warden dismissed the case, even killed the guy that had brought forth the evidence, okay, to keep it from coming out, and put him in the hole. for like 2 months or whatever. Just completely wicked. And that reminds me of the Democrats. Back to Tulsi Gabbard, though, and Kamala.
Senator Harris, your response?
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
Because of the Democrats.
We created initiatives that were about re-entering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we should do, not only decriminalize but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not, and worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that.
Absolutely no excuse for that, you guys. Absolutely no excuse. And what's interesting is that she said also that they were holding people longer than their sentences to get cheap labor out of them. So when the Democrat Party says that Black Lives Matter, that's when it matters, okay? When they can get cheap labor from prisoners, hold them, longer than their terms, or get something out of them. That's the only time. That's why they got her up there, okay? They use people of color in the media and her, put them out in the forefront to make it appear that they are for us, but policy-wise, that's all you have to do is look at the policies to know that these people are straight demons for the most part. I wanted to go on to another clip of that 2020 run when she talked about Joe Biden. Joe Biden ended up choosing her to be his vice president, which was interesting. She was one of the first people out, didn't even win her own home state, but she was chosen to be the VP.
We've also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you.
Look at Biden.
Commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground.
Actually, I am.
But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful.
Play that role, Biden.
To hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputation and career on segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day.
On that short bus.
And that little girl was me.
I'm sorry, you guys, but Biden's facial expressions get me every single time. It's crazy. Let's go here, you guys, and see a report on Kamala.
Democrat vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris is now condemning violence across the nation, just months after touting to help fund the release of violent demonstrators from jail.
Wait, you say what? So she helped fund the release of violent demonstrators from jail, but she was holding information that could have had an innocent man free from death row until she was forced to. And she was also holding inmates in prison longer than their sentences to keep to get cheap labor out of them. But she's bundling these violent protesters out of jail. And if you remember in 2020, they called it the Summer of Love. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or somewhere, where a group called Antifa, okay, a little terrorist organization, was vandalizing property and pretty much going against anyone that was going for President Trump. So if you ask me, they were funded by the left. Okay, but it's interesting how she was willing to bail them out. And that didn't, when they compare January, they love to bring up January 6th, where you saw a lot of people walking around with flags, a few people kicking out windows, taking selfies. And although it's been debunked a million times that President Trump wanted to insurrect the government, overthrow the government, they called it an insurrection. I don't know for the 1500th time how you can overthrow this government that has all these weapons, okay, by just walking around with a flag and taking selfies. I don't know how you're going to do that, and didn't even have guns. But, you know, for whatever reason, the left-wing media was able to once again fool the dumbed-down population to believing that this was an insurrection, just like they tried to fool people into believing that trans women are actually women. But yeah, let's go on.
Russ explains.
Democrat vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris is flip-flopping her stance on nationwide
is new?
riots
Typical
after
politician.
previously encouraging the public to help bail out violent demonstrators just months prior. Taking to Twitter Sunday, Harris shared a post by her running mate Joe Biden, who called a deadly shooting during Portland's continued civil unrest unacceptable. Biden was referring to the death of an apparent Trump supporter at the hands of a self-disclosed Antifa member, following clashes between protesters and conservative activists. Harris now saying, quote,
Let me stop this real quick, you guys, because it's just sad how the bought and paid for liberal media and the Democrat Party have run this negative rhetoric so in the ground where you actually have lunatics out here that are willing to kill people for their political choice, while at the same time saying you have the choice to kill your unborn seed, and they promote your body, your choice when it comes to that. But when it comes down to elections, they have a hard time accepting people that don't choose like them. But this is the party of my choice. Okay, there's more than one party on the ballot for a reason. It gives us, the people, options, even though, you know, this two-party political system has really become corrupt on both sides. But still, this is not a one-way ticket, okay? And people have the right to choose who they want for president and should not be targeted because of their choice. Oh, these people.
I join Biden in condemning the violence.
Burning down communities is not protest, it's needless violence. Violence that endangers lives, violence that guts businesses and shutters businesses that serve the community. That's wrong.
Oh, so now you guys believe that's wrong. But what happened when you all were burning Elon Musk's cars because he decided to join President Trump with Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, and find out how you all have been fraudulently using our tax dollars, aka money laundering? Okay?
Elon Musk is denouncing the war on Tesla.
It's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence. I think we just have a deranged. There's some kind of mental illness thing going on.
It's very
here.
well mental. That's why they're called the left, because it's gone. It's all the way out there.
Make any sense?
The random violence is nerve-wracking for Tesla drivers.
You have Teslas lit ablaze, Molotov cocktails thrown at Tesla dealerships.
Crazy.
Is it just me? I sense like a lot of people cutting me off, you know, driving real close.
Abby Berman, who lives in Venice Beach, California, says she got a creepy letter in her mailbox.
Hello, neighbor. Won't you please consider getting rid of your Tesla vehicle? The message you are sending at this point is, I am a Nazi too. I'm now nervous.
Do you see that? The message that you're sending because you're driving a vehicle that you chose, to drive, that the left was actually promoting. Okay, they were going to try to mandate electric vehicles when Biden was in office. They were trying to mandate these vehicles. But then when Elon Musk decided to aid President Trump, which he was a big support to President Trump, then they turned on the guy and they started running this negative coverage. They bought and paid for liberal talk show hosts running this negative coverage on this man, so much so that it influenced people to go out and burn his cars. Okay, I knew a person that owned a Tesla and then he was fearful to drive it during that time. Okay, he said that someone had poured coffee all over his car. Now, these cars have cameras on them. And there was like a collage of videos on social media showing random people, strangers, coming up on people's cars, damaging them, vandalizing them, spitting on them, pouring stuff all over them, simply because the hate that the media spewed relentlessly about Elon after he decided to join Trump. The same way that they ran the negative rhetoric on Trump, they started doing it on Elon and anyone else that supports Trump. They did the same way. Negative nonstop coverage. but then claim to be representing a party that's all about choice. Okay? Only when it's convenient for them. Okay? And like they say, Black Lives Matter. Like, love to run this narrative that there are so for black people, but we see when Black Lives Matter, like Kamala, when they can hold you in prison longer to get cheap labor out of you. Okay, that's when your lives matter. Okay, and they put a lot of these people up in the forefront, black talking heads in the media, even use Kamala to try to make people believe that they are actually supporting black people. But all you have to do is look at the policies and look at the state of our communities that have not changed over the years. Ugh. At any rate, you guys, let's continue on with this video before I give myself
My car is going to get vandalized, that somebody's watching me.
She says she's holding on to her Tesla, but many say they're contemplating selling.
I love the car. I don't like driving something that supports Elon Musk, so we're getting rid of it.
And just listen to Jimmy Kimmel's audience reaction
Look at this.
when he mocked
Black
Elon's
face
troubles.
Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so.
Wonder why? Because of people like you.
All the hatred is impacting
Bought and
sales,
paid for.
And now one major Tesla investor is calling on Musk to step down.
The company's reputation is just being destroyed by Elon Musk.
No, the company's reputation was destroyed by it is not even destroyed, but they wanted to destroy it. It was the left, okay? The liberal, lying, corrupt media, okay? That's who was putting this out day in and day out about this man. Oh, these people, I tell you, you guys. But at any rate, let's go on and more of Kamala. And this was her little campaign for her run back in 2024, the run that she was not elected to. I may have to pause it because it has music.
We each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in?
I can answer that. We want to live in a country free from Democrats. That's what type of country we want to live. Look at all these illegal immigrants they got holding her. It probably ain't even illegal immigrants. It's probably a green screen. Couldn't even fill up a high school auditorium. Had to pay celebrities like Megan Thee Stallion, Beyonce, and Cardi B. Try to use their influence to get crowds of people in. Practically held a concert at her rally to draw crowds. And as soon as the performers were done or were gone, so were the crowds. That tells you all you need to know about these people.
There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate.
The Democrats.
But us, we choose something different.
Yeah, you choose more hate and more violence. That's what you guys choose. That's the only difference. More. Exaggerated on your side. Get good goals. Get goals. We were freed on November the 5th in 2024. We were unburdened by what had been.
The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence.
Yada, yada, yada. That's all these people do. And she talked about giving speeches when she was debating Tulsi Gabbard. She's not about just giving fair speeches. She's about doing the work. Yeah, that's pretty much all that campaign slogan was about. All talk, no work. You were the border. She was the border czar. And they left the border open the entire 4 years that the corrupt senile President Biden was in office, allowing millions of illegal citizens to flood into our countries. That's the reason why when you go to make a doctor's appointment now, you have to wait 3 to 4 months to get your heart checked because the illegal citizens come over here and they're able to get health care for free, thanks to the taxpayer. Okay, it's on me, baby. I mean, come over here and get everything for free, and then we wonder why we have to wait 3 and 4 months just to get a driver's license or to go to the doctor. Because these people have flooded the system illegally. Calm down, Militia. Calm down. But at any rate, you guys, let's see what she, like I said, they love to use celebrities. So she used, this is Quavo, he's an Atlanta rapper. She used one of his bars from one of his songs entitled Walk It Like I Talk It in referencing and making a reference to President Trump.
On the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk.
Really, you were the border czar, and you didn't do a darn thing. They didn't even close the border down until reportedly July of 2024 when Biden instituted some statute or something to limit the flow into the country. I mean, the entire 4 years he was in office, they were flying people in the middle of the night, flying them in, and I bet you they didn't have to have an ID. But when we go get on a flight, we have to present ID. Flying these people in, putting them up reportedly in luxury hotels in New York, okay, providing them with free food, free cars, cell phones, all on our dime, you guys, all on our dime. And she want to talk about Trump didn't do anything about the border? That's one of the main reasons why he got elected, is because he was working to close up the border. You were the border czar, didn't do a damn thing. Went and visited the border on the side. They didn't have a lot of people talking about, oh, see, there's nothing going on here. Oh, these people.
Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
He does not walk it like he talks it. That's cool, ain't it? I know I can get y'all with that. Y'all love y'all music. I can get y'all stirred up with that quote. Ooh, Kamala Harris, she cool. She real cool. She quote Quavo. And keeping people in jail longer than their sentences as well. At any rate, I would like to beg to differ. My president does walk it like he talks it. And here's an example.
Talk it, ay. Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them.
You take my shoes and walk a mile, something that you can't do. Hey, big talks of the town, big boy gang moves. I like to walk around.
Yeah, all about action. That's one of the main reasons, like I said, why he was elected, because he's not a typical politician. He was a businessman for years, okay? So he's about action. Meanwhile, typical politicians just live off of our tax dollars. They become rich off of us, okay? He was already rich before he became a politician. And to end this off, you guys, I'm going to share some advice that I offered to Kamala, because, it was said that she was going to run again in 2028. And, I didn't know what to think after I heard that, because I'm like, you're going to run again after you raised $1 billion and came out 20 million in debt. You're going to run again after you lost in a landslide. Look, you guys, this was the election map back in 2024. This right here, where is it at? It's election map right here. Red Sea. You're going to run again after you got whipped? And I'm willing to bet that California, especially with all of this fraud and corruption, that they weren't even blue. Okay, it's so many people that reportedly have moved from California to red states like Texas and Florida. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's a lot of fraudulent activity, thanks to Nick Shirley exposing it as well, going on in that state. Okay, it's just interesting how U-Haul reportedly stated that more people were leaving that state, and they were getting more business to come to take people from that state to red states like Texas and Florida. Okay, so it's something. But like I was saying, you guys, I want to share some advice that I gave to Kamala, because being a black conservative, I get a lot of backlash from people that are my similar shade, because they like to think that I'm hating on a sister. How can you hate on? You're a hater. She's a vice president. What are you? I'm a truth teller. That's what I am. Okay, but I did offer her some advice regarding the 2028 election. Hopefully she'll get it. If not, it doesn't matter, because she still will have the same result, if not worse, that she had the last time. Here's what I had to say.
I just heard that Kamala is considering running again in 2028. Here you have a person that wasn't even elected this last election cycle.
Right.
And when she ran in 2020 was one of the first candidates, if not the first one that was out. And you're considering running again in 2028.
Fact check.
You received $1 billion in donations and came out $20 million in debt.
Fact check.
And you're considering running again?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will tell you this. You will be a perfect representation of the Democratic Party's mental state. Insane in the membrane.
Mm-hmm.
Gone in the dome. Don't do it, Kamala. Just don't do it. I think Hillary Clinton is putting you up to it because she wants you to break her losing streak. Don't do it, because if you do, you'll be once, twice, 3 times a loser. If you run again, you'll be once, twice, 3 times a loser. So don't run again. And I'm coming to you from a black woman to another black, Indian, whatever you are, woman. Don't do it again.
Don't do it again. Please don't do it. Yeah, don't do that to yourself. You know, you got your behind handed to you. You don't want to go through that again. Okay, and that's coming from a concerned black woman to another, whatever you are. Well, you guys, I'm going to leave it off there. Let me know your thoughts on this video, and I will see you later.